Hello, class. I'm so glad you have decided to take web page design online with me this semester. I'd like to start off with just a few tips for success. Now, these tips were given to me by my students last semester. I had a very good class last semester. Everyone finished with an A or a B. And so I asked them just to share some of their tips for success with my next class. And they were glad to do that. So I have a few tips for you. And the first thing is to pay close attention to due dates. You know, your due dates are spelled out in the modules in Canvas. So each week, look at your module. Work through the modules in a sequential order, top to bottom order, so that you don't miss anything. Now on the sidebar, you know, it gives you reminders about assignments and also in your calendar, so that will help you as well. But you may miss something if you don't go through the modules and work step by step, top to bottom order. So pay close attention to your due dates. And then the student said to be sure that you understand the code. You know, sometimes we just follow the steps in the book. It tells us exactly what to do, and we just follow the steps, and we're not really paying attention or trying to understand. So take your time as you're working through the textbook step by step. You're going to follow your steps in the book through the chapter project, but making sure that you're understanding the code and not just trying to complete the assignment. Then at the end, you will do what's called an in the lab. Now, the in the lab won't tell you everything. It tells you what to do, but not every step to take. So on the in the lab, you are applying what you learned in the chapter project. So understand the code. And the next tip for the class is make a good first attempt before you ask for help. You know, try on your own. That's what learning to code is all about. You've got to be patient. You've got to be willing to experiment and try. And don't quit. Don't give up. But once you are getting really good and frustrated, don't hesitate to ask for help. So make a good first attempt before you ask, and don't quit. The next tip our class has was don't use Google for your assignments. You know, we are used to Googling everything these days. If we want to know something, we Google it. And I certainly am just as guilty as you are about this. But the students found out that when they used Google instead of their textbook, it really just gave way more information than they needed. And it became frustrating to try to, work through all of that information that you would find when you Google something. So really the best method is to follow through your chapter projects step by step, and then working on your labs and asking questions when you need help. The next hint is to create templates and use them. You know, templates are like a blueprint. Some of the code that you do is no need of retyping it every time. So you use that code over and over. So you learn about reuse. If you can reuse some code, you want to do that. Don't feel like you've got to type it in fresh every time. If you use that code, it's a similar code in the last project, feel free to use that assignment as a template for your next assignment. So learn to use templates. And then study for your quizzes. The student said, take advantage of an easy grade. And they were talking about the quiz. The quizzes aren't hard, and they will help you, though, with your labs. The labs help you with the quizzes, and the quizzes help you with your labs. All of the assignments are designed to give you a better understanding of the concepts in each chapter. So study for the quizzes. You can retake the quizzes, so always make a good grade on those quizzes. Take advantage of an easy A. and then watch for misspelled words. You know, it can be very frustrating. You can have just left a letter off of a word and it threw off all of your code. It made you look like you had been doing everything wrong when really, in fact, you were doing things right. You just didn't spell your words correctly. So you're going to have to pay very close attention to detail in this class and watch out for misspelled words. And you can't use spell check. You're going to have to use, because of all the code, you've just got to check it carefully. And one thing I always recommend to students is code a little and then test a lot. Don't do all of the assignment, then look at it and see how it looks. You're going to just do a few lines of code and then check it and see how it looks in your browser. So code a little, test a lot, pay close attention to details, and check your code. Make sure you spelled everything correctly. And then always validate your HTML code. Now, I know you don't know how to validate yet, but you're going to learn how in the first chapter too. So once you learn how, be sure that you always validate your code, because it may look like it's just right, but when you validate that code, it will help you find mistakes that you would not have found otherwise. And then don't get frustrated. Stay calm. You know, when you get frustrated, you can't find your mistakes. Sometimes, and this is why it's important, start on your lessons at the very beginning of the week so that you don't feel pressured and rushed to finish your assignments, because that will frustrate you when you can't find an error. Sometimes you need to work on something, you can't find your error, get up and walk away from it and come back. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't get frustrated, stay calm, be patient, pay close attention to detail, code a little, test a lot. And if you have questions, ask. By all means, that's what I'm here for. Once you've given it a good effort and you can't find your mistakes, let me know and let me help you. That's what I'm here for. And I want to help you. Don't be afraid to ask. And then take advantage of your appendix in your textbook. That appendix has a lot of quick information that you can find. Code that you may not remember, you can look in the appendix and find it very quickly. So I hope you will take to heart these tips from my former students who have done very well in this class. And I know that you will too. Let me know when you need me. All of my contact information is in the syllabus. I do check my Twitter, my Facebook, my text, and all of that. But the best way to reach me, and my preferred method, is for you to use the inbox in Canvas. This way, all of your messages are kept right together, and I can look back to see our previous conversation, and that helps me keep everything in context. So if you will, message me using the inbox in Canvas. I'm looking forward to a great semester.